Minutes. Minutes are
Which
usually
way?
the-
Yeah, you can approve minutes.
Okay, Bob, I think you're-
Yeah, can I get a motion to approve the previously provided minute from last month board meeting?
I'm going to approve. Approved, second.
I'm gonna go in and cook.
Can you hear?
All in favor? Aye. 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 All opposed? It's passed. Well, kind of want to open up a meeting. We've had 4 members pass in the last few months. Leo Hayward, Tony Latronica, Donna Chase, and Steve Hamline. These members have been here for quite a while. And there's a lot of great relationships, family relationships. It's always tough. Just want to recognize the members and the families, and the people that are grieving. We have several celebrations of life coming up in the club. We just ask everybody to just be aware there are some people hurting, some people are celebrating their relationship with the families, and just be aware that we've lost some really good members. Our future's bright. Things are going very well for the club. Recognize some of the things that have been going on while everybody's been hunkering down and sometimes sheltering south, enjoying the winter in the south. So a lot of great things have been going on with the club. Now it's back up and running. Finance is gonna give us some good news on how we're staying on track in preparation of our longer range planning. Membership is reporting some really good news on attracting and retaining memberships. For pro shops, implementing some new steps for improving our golfing experiences, particularly on our heaviest used days of Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Manor House up and running with new infrastructure improvements. With our increasing membership needs. Marketing is introducing some new technologies for us to enhance our website and upcoming online dining reservations. Browns is reporting our course improvements are on track for our summer play. Long-range planning is identifying and prioritizing our capital needs for delivering our future needs. A lot of activities are going on, and a lot of it is due to the great job our management team and our committees are doing. And I want to recognize them for that. Also want to let other members know that if you want to get involved, there's opportunities. It's time to step up and help us along with this journey. It's a great journey, and we could use your help. Stay tuned for the highlights.
Mr. Campbell.
Okay, we'll move on to long range planning.
Thanks, Gary. Long range planning has been really fairly busy here over the last several months. I wanted to spend a little time explaining the process on how we move things forward. Just to share with you some of the thoughts and effort that's gone into place, and then also talk about some of the projects that are being considered for 2023 and beyond. So the way the process works is committees and managers identify project needs and submit those to long range planning through data sheets. So they provide information explaining what it is they think that we need and a little detail about the particular projects that they would like considered. And then board members may also make recommendations for projects for consideration. Project requests include that the first slide?
Yep.
Okay. So, project requests include, not just new projects that are being considered, but we're also going through deferred maintenance projects as well as equipment replacement. And the new projects. Projects also come from numerous studies that are being implemented right now. Those studies include security audits, energy audits, inspection, code compliance, and regulations. So it's not just what we would like to see done, but it's also to look back and look at these facilities and be sure that they are functioning properly and that we are doing things right. So all these audits are ongoing right now as we speak. And then on top of that, there's also the emergency last minute projects that occur from time to time. But we are working to minimize the emergencies by exposing risk before they become critical. So we're always going to have something that comes up over the course of the year, but by doing all these audits and studies, we hope to minimize those surprises that come up. We're going to have them, we've had them, but we're working to avoid those in the future. Okay, continuing on that, committee managers provide recommendations and priorities. So that's the way they come through. Long-range planning works with finance to determine availability and timing of funds to assist in prioritizing requests. And then general manager working with the finance group can advance certain projects that are less than $2,500, provided funds are available either through department budgets or through the $75,000 allocation that we have for miscellaneous projects. So those, the general manager working with his different managers can identify projects and advance those without going through the long-range planning process. LRP makes recommendations to the board for approval of projects in excess of $2,500. The board approves those projects through a process that's called an AFE, authorization for expenditures. So the board actually has to approve anything over $2,500. The board approves these projects, and then currently we have 75 plus projects that have submitted data sheets for consideration. So we had a list a year or two ago, but that list had been old and been made up over 10, 15 years and just continued to be carried, but nobody really went back and looked at those projects. We're going back now, we're studying the projects, and we're coming up with more detail and more explanation. So we currently have 75 projects that have been submitted and being considered. Okay. So recently, each of these committees, the Grounds and Greens, the House, and then the Manor House Campus Committee, have submitted these requests for projects they would like to see completed in 2023. And just going through them quickly, the dam and the spillway repairs, which are required, we have no option. We're being dictated by I think it's the state that requires these projects to happen. And a hydrology study for the dam is also required. In addition to that, for 2023, we would like to consider adding concrete pads to hole number 15. And then the pump station has a variable frequency drive that we need to get in 2023. And then parking lot sealing, we put a lot of money into that parking lot. Would be a mistake if we didn't maintain it. So we need to look at possibly sealing that parking lot this year. And then multiple drainage improvements. House is asking for a Rational oven and 4 refrigerators, one for, I guess, pizza sandwich, a salad, a dessert, and a saute. Refrigerators. So those are the requests from House, and then the Manor House is looking to do some improvements to the Colorado room, the room we're sitting in here right now, helping with technology and aesthetics and a variety of other things to make this room more valuable and more usable going forward. north deck covering, storage space, a dedicated ADA handicap on the main level, and even though we're grandfathered in, we really need to seriously think about trying to get a handicap restroom on this level. Then on-course Wi-Fi system, which is something that we're also talking to with hopefully with the Metro District, that we can see what's going on there, see if we can come up with a solution. And then complete the window replacements in the manor house. We've replaced several windows, and we have several more to replace. And we're gonna, the old single pane windows with snow leaking in throughout the winter, getting some good windows in there and helping make this a more energy efficient place. So those are the projects that are being considered. Remaining funds available for 2023 right now is approximately $275,000. That list of projects that you saw is in excess of the $275,000. So we're not going to necessarily be able to do all of those. And then on top of that, there's always a potential for additional projects that have not yet been identified that'll come up throughout the course of the year, including, quite honestly, a boiler and a furnace for the manor house, which both are pretty old and questionable, so we need to look at those. So what we'll do in long range planning, we'll take all the requests and sort them to a master priority list, as funds will not be available for all the projects. So we're gonna have to figure out which of those projects do go forward. Then long range planning will make recommendations to the board for all projects in excess of $2,500. Projects in excess of 100,000 requires member approval. And committees in long range planning also working on the 2024 list, as well as identifying and prioritizing all potential future projects. The long range planning is working on a lot of different things at this time, recognizing that we're helping to prioritize the most important projects, and we take those recommendations to the board for approval.
No comments or any questions. I don't know, go back. There we go. Okay, yeah, that was weird. Okay, little finance update for what we saw for our second month. This is Lori. Through February, year to date, kind of focus, we're 7,000 behind budget, which we consider ourselves being really cognizant of the expenses we had so far this year, not being open in January and February. We had planned February sales for food. We made sure our staffing costs came in lower, but also wanting to help retain staff. We had some extra dollars that we could put toward payroll and still end at the 7,000, so that was good. We had lower cost of goods that helped combat that 30,000 less in sales, I think it was. So really, we're just kicking off. I think in March. I don't know if we'll quote me or not, but we'll say we'll make up that 7,000. We'll be ahead of budget in our first quarter already. So hopefully we see that happen. We have other departments helping out the food and beverage areas, like membership is ahead in sales for the year already. Pro Shop is ahead with some extra merchandise sales, and the cart pack sales came in to what we were expecting in budget. So that was good to see. So yeah, we have a whole club support. Our FME count is ahead of budget, so that obviously helps with membership too, every month being able to collect the dues. What we see March 1, or at the end of March for April, we'll see our 0 members come over to paying dues, and then our dues increase also for the people that are not on the prepaid program. Sound good? Okay. Looks like we have a chat, but I'm not sure what reference it is. Are we getting new carts this year? Huh? You wanna comment?
Yeah, so yes, we are getting new carts currently scheduled for July. And this is the 3rd season of those golf carts, which is kind of where Some clubs will choose to push them to 5, but we think, it's a little bit of a tough life out there at the elements of Prairie Park, so, new carts in July.
We need to approve the finance.
Motion to approve the, February results.
1 second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So moved.
Okay, I'll cover this slide. This is Dan, by the way. Any of you that have attended past meetings have heard me reference club benchmarking. We're a member of club benchmarking. It basically, as the name suggests, enables us to compare our performance against other clubs. This is, we just recently got sort of the data that enables us to compare our performance for other clubs around the country that look like us. So it's essentially it's about 70 clubs that are in our revenue band and that also have a golf course. Yeah. So I submitted 20 slides to cover this evening. Although that number's been whittled down to 1, Gary got rid of the rest. But seriously, I'll cover 1 or 2 of these each month because there is a lot of, I think, valuable data that I think the members should take a look at. And this is one of the more important ones, and this is called the net available capital ratio. And I'll go straight to the bottom of the slide, so you can see, well, what exactly is that? It's essentially we take your surplus, so it'd be a subtraction if we had a loss, we had a surplus, plus your capital income, which is essentially capital dues plus initiation fees, and you subtract the lease payments, and you divide that by your operating revenue, and that gives you your ratio. Okay, so club benchmarking recommends a minimum of 15% for that ratio or higher. If you'll notice, prior to 2020, not only Perry Park, but most of our peer clubs were significantly below that 15%. Lori and I are actually attending a webinar on Thursday about capital planning, and I think that'll actually be a big topic. And I'm confident that he'll discuss this ratio. Anyway, as you can see by the steep climb in the blue line, there is that we've made a lot of progress with this. You know, you've heard me say in past meetings, you know, the members' decision to approve the increase in capital dues in 2021 will pay dividends for this club for many years to come, as well as because once you're able to start investing in the club, it's no accident that we also it helps enable us to grow our membership, right? So the good news in this, as you can see, is that we are now actually substantially above the median in terms of this ratio for clubs that look like us. So we're at 22.7, and the median is right around 15 for 2022. So if you look at it as far as like, and you just heard Mike talk about, is that if you look at a lot of the years, say, you know, we start here in 2015, we were starved for capital for years. Let's be honest with you, I think that a lot of the past boards did a terrific job of keeping this club afloat. And so we actually need to overcome that. The reason we have so many lists on this LRP thing is partially due is because we have so much deferred maintenance that we have to catch up on. So it's very good news that as far as that we are now generating enough capital to start to catch up with not only all of the maintenance needs that the club has, but also hopefully to do some additional fund projects as well. Any questions? Anything online, Lori?
Nope.
Thank you, Dan. Up here.
Plan is the PDF is not quite working right. I'm trying to get back into it. Okay,
Do you sing also?
I do.
April 4th, karaoke.
Yeah. All right, so our featured employee of the month is Ramon. He is our sous chef back there. He wasn't able to make it to the meeting. We had a dishwasher call in, so he's the dishwasher today. Couple fun facts about Ramon. He's been here for 5 years. He's got an associate's applied science for culinary arts degree. He's originally from Clovis, New Mexico. His favorite part of Perry Park is to drive in after a nice snow. Which I love that too. I love the look of just the way the golf course looks. Hobbies or where he spends his time not at work. In the summer, Ramon's family works at the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb as a flagman for the race. He's usually on the top of the hill, let the drivers go after they come to the top of the hill. And it's usually really cold, even though it's summertime. Couple places he's traveled to. Well, I guess the place he's traveled to was Disney World with his family. I think that was last year. Funniest or best story is when the old bear tipped over the grease pen and grease ran all the way down into the parking lot, and members were driving through the grease, thought it was water. So it got all over their cars, and we had to do a major cleanup with Dawn soap and scrubbing the parking lot all the way down to where you can pull the carts down into the actual cart barn area.
Was that the old parking lot?
It was the old parking lot, thank God, because it was just, you've seen all these tire marks that people just drove all the way through. So yeah, that was a pretty crazy story. So Ramon's a great asset to Perry Park. Being a sous chef, it's one of the hardest positions in the kitchen. Ramon does a great job. I worked with Ramon a handful of years at another club, Kissing Camels, part of the Garden of the Gods. He's always had my back. He has always covered my rear end when I am not around, or even when I am around. Ramon is a great teacher back there. He teaches all the new staff, all the younger kids that come in and do dishwashing and busing and whatnot. He'll run them through, and they're trained very well. You know, he's always approachable, dependable, and mostly has a good attitude. I'm not gonna say he's always happy and go lucky, but you know, I really appreciate Ramon's hard work.
We're the best place to see. Good afternoon, evening, everybody. This is Keith Stillwell here. Couple updates for golf tournament and handicap committee, as well as the golf shop. We're excited to have a whole lot of returning staff members this year. So as you can imagine, operationally that helps, but it's a family down there, and we all really enjoy each other's company. So to see some of our seasonal help and then summer guys come back year over year is really thrilling. And this is the time of year where we're reaching out and starting to build that team again. And 7 of last year's 10 team members are going to be back this year. So you'll see some familiar faces back there at the golf shop and outside on the pad. One reminder, last year we started the club washing process on the 18th hole, and that's really in direct correlation to why we see those team members coming back. There was a long time where that outside service role, the guys that wash the carts and pick the range balls, was really a pretty funky job here at Perry Park. A lot of work and for minimum wage pay, or if they did that same role at Bear Dance or anyone else, it becomes a tipped role. It becomes a lot higher compensation. So the fact that you all supported that process so well last year really allowed us to continue to maintain those team members and continue to build the talent of that team outside as well. So thank you for that, and that is in the plans for 2023 as well. We are looking for just 4 additional team members. So if you have anybody in mind, typically that's seasonal help, somebody that might be off for the summer and could help out. We will be bringing on a couple more friendly faces for that role as well. Registration for key events is coming up quick. Golf season is almost here. I wouldn't say it's officially here. We're still missing a couple golf holes out there, but we're getting close. Just wanted to hit a couple of key registration dates. Women's Invitational registration opens April 1st. And so hopping into that one as quick as possible, only a few days away. And then Men's Invitational. So those of you that have participated in the Men's Invitational are aware they have a pre-registration window for the previous year's participants. But on Friday, the 24th at 8 a.m., that'll open up to the rest of the membership. This year, that will kind of filter immediately into a waitlist process. If you're on that waitlist and you're looking to get into the invitational, don't lose hope. Last year, we called 11 teams from the waitlist. So I'd highly encourage you to still hop on that waitlist if you're looking to play, and don't lose hope in participating. We would expect to get some waitlist teams in. PPWGA and PPNGL, that's the Women's Golf Association and American Prairie Park Men's League. Registrations are both open and available for those. If you're newer to the golf club and want to meet folks, this is the best way to do it. These are, the ladies are great. They're going to welcome you in, and the men do exactly the same. We look to get creative and pair you with some folks that we think you may jive with, and really a good way to break down those walls and meet some longstanding members of the club. And then Classic and Club Championship registrations, those are still a little ways out, but we wanted to get them on your radar. So the Classic is opening on June 5th. So that'll be another one that you want to hop in quick. That fills fast. If you've not participated in that, that'll go to a wait list almost that same day. And then the Club Championship registrations will open on June 19th. And so those are
Match play.
match play registrations open April 1st. And then kicking off 2023, just a couple notes, and certainly don't want to hop on a soapbox, but just a couple things about essentially respecting the tee sheet. We have a whole lot of new members here at Prairie Park looking to get attached and integrated into the club. If you see somebody hop on your tee time there, and you were hoping maybe to play alone, maybe hang out, meet a new member, make a new friend. In the afternoons, we see a whole lot of that where we get it. Sometimes it's nice just to get out there and work on your game, or maybe there's some barriers where you're a little nervous about how you play. Trust it, none of us are getting on the PGA Tour anytime soon. And it's okay to get out there and struggle a little bit. Everybody's in that same boat, but just keep in mind that there's some folks looking to meet you and make some friends, and just be cognizant of that as you hop on and off those tee times. And then as we get back into full season, mindful of the pace of play here at Prairie Park. 4 hours is a pretty brisk pace of play. We do a pretty good job of maintaining that. Last year we hung around at 4 hours and 3 minutes as our average pace of play, which is fantastic. However, if you are new to the club, that can be a little tough to maintain. So just keep that in mind that the membership does expect to get around that golf course pretty quickly, and we appreciate your support in that process. Any questions?
Yeah.
We still using the little.
We are, yes. Tag marks will be back in play, and hopefully a whole lot better implemented on our side as well. That's what will allow us to really help maintain our expectations and provide the data behind that.
You don't have enough for everybody.
Yes, yes.
You do have
We
enough
do.
for everyone?
Yeah, I do.
And then we're active for now for posting, so when we don't have all the holes open, do we just post?
Apparently, we've been making that. That's a great question. So right now, we've been marking the tee sheet as a no post. And now if you choose to post, you certainly can opt into that. We haven't had tee markers on the golf course. We haven't had the full loop going. And while Colorado went into their posting season, here, 6,000 plus feet of elevation, we weren't quite into a full postable golf course. So that could change pretty quickly. I think we're getting close to having those golf holes open in Mother Nature.
I have one question online, from Phil. Could you please explain how it benefits members to make a tee time at 7 a.m. versus 8 a.m.?
So, Phil, the thought process when those changes were made was if we maintained it at 8 a.m. With a 14-day booking window, so this Saturday, that a whole lot more folks would actually be on the golf course when that booking window opened. And we are hearing that feedback, not just from you, from others. It's something that GT&H is listening very closely to, and we'll be continuing to have some conversations about. But I don't know how to answer the direct benefit, other than it was trying to avoid the 8 a.m. for certainly having golfers on the golf course that day. versus 7 a.m. We don't typically have very many groups on the course. Any other questions? All right, thank you all.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jason here. Just kind of piggyback what Keith was saying earlier, in relation to course openings. We hope to have the T markers out by Thursday of this week, in conjunction with the fact that we have playable holes here on 13 and 14. So we could get a whole 18-hole loop in ideally by Friday, starting on Friday. It's a little wet out there still on 11 and 13, but again, optimistic. We haven't had much snow this month. I think we've recorded about 2 inches where we typically measure, whereas last year we had about 24. So it's been a good March to get people out on the golf course. What you are seeing out there is a lot of dormant turf still. Our soil temperatures are really what dictates when cool season turf jumps out of the ground, starts to grow. We're sitting around a high of 45 right now. And what we really need to be at is about 50 for roots to start pushing growth and 60 for grass to start growing. So there's a little range in there. Now, our daytime temperatures will drive that temperature up a bit, the soil temp is the top inch. But what will end up happening is when we get back down into the low 20s, which we're experiencing right now, that dips that soil temperature back down. So as those daytime temperatures continue to climb and stay more consistent, that soil temperature will come up, the grass will break dormancy, and then you'll start to see a lot more green turf out there. So, that being said, the golf course looks pretty good right now for where we stand. But again, nothing is actively growing, so. A couple other quick updates, I would say, we're still looking for a mechanic to fill our equipment manager role. Had a couple of candidates, do optimistically have an interview this coming Monday that we hope to have a qualified candidate for. And in the start of April, we'll start bringing back some of our seasonal staff. So we've got, like Heath, we've got a lot of returning staff, which is positive for this year. Just reached out to Carlos today from Mexico, and he's hoping to be here by April 3rd. So optimistic on that front. But it has been a little bit of a wear on us, as the team working on some of the minor mechanic things just to get prepped for our spring cultural practices, which will be Monday and Tuesday, the 10th and 11th. That'll be similar to last spring and similar to last fall. Really a deep tine aerification of the greens, and then a cross tied solid aerification of the greens and a light top dressing. You have to be kind of careful this time of year with temperatures and how that's working, because you can't do too much because the grass isn't growing yet. So obviously we're hoping for that to peak up here in April. Following with the T markers, we've got the pace of play clocks out already. and some bunker rakes, and we'll get the ball washers out there in the igloos once our temperatures come up again at night, so that we're not freezing anything. We're starting to pressure the irrigation system up, so move forward with that. That's going pretty smooth so far. Need to get some more water on the sod on new number 18. And then from a project standpoint, we internally finally poured that little section of concrete that was missing by the putting green that we removed last year that was causing a bunch of just jolting and potential equipment bouncing out of carts, especially golf carts. So that was broken out last year, and we didn't want to wait any longer this year, so we poured that internally. I'm definitely not a concrete mason for sure, but it'll suffice. And then Modern Golf has been here working on the cart path up on number 1, and they should be in tomorrow to do erosion control measures on the island and get that started. So that's really my update for right now, but looking forward to some green grass and getting going. Any questions?
Thanks.
Everyone, Lanny here. So March was a little bit of a slower month for memberships. As you all know, we were closed, so a lot of people waited to do their tours and things like that till this month. But for reporting for February, we're currently at 202 full memberships. And as of the last day of February, our cap is 308 or was 308.5. Top two updates, in February, we acquired a junior golf membership, a social membership, and then, also a professional golf membership. And then we did have a conversion as well, one junior to full golf conversion. Our initiation fees, our full is still at 15, soon to be 16, so we've got one spot left, at the 15,000, so tell your friends, and as of right now, we've got 5 spots left till we are at our cap of golf memberships.
Oops.
As far as membership data, this is kind of a drill down of how many memberships we're sitting at as a total. So 562 is our total memberships. So this is our resignation. We did have quite a few resignations in February, is to be expected. A lot of moving in and out of the area, lifestyle changes, and did not use the club, so. But the next slide, we'll talk about where we are at year to date. So we are still at 1% resignation percentage. So you'll see that number increase as the year goes on, but we're hoping to keep it below that 10% for the year. We'd like to welcome some new members, Connor and Emma Nanger, and also David Davis. Also, as a side note, I'd like to thank Bill Riley and Mark Vandersloot for their volunteering on the membership committee. Bill had contributed for about 10 years and Mark for about 6 years. So they had their last meeting with us this month, and we are recruiting for members of all different classes to apply to be on the membership committee. So if you're interested, please let me know. As far as marketing, we do have a new look at the Fairway Views. I'd like to shout out Caitlin. She's our wedding coordinator, but she's now also assisting in membership. So doing check-in calls to members, working on weekly reminders and Fairway Views. So she'll be working on that next week. So if anybody needs to send in any information, please, you can send that to me or Caitlin. We did have a really successful open house on the 16th. So 60% of the people that were joined us that evening ended up joining as members. So really successful. And in fact, we've got one more on the 30th. We had to split into 2 nights. So we do have some spots available on the 29th and 30th of this month. So that's next Wednesday and Thursday. So send your friends, send your neighbors. If they end up joining, you get $50 credit for a social member and $750 for a golf member. We did add a new page to the member website. So underneath Member Central, you'll see a new member welcome page, and that will have instructions to get to our app, to our Facebook. You can update your member photo. If you don't have a member photo, please add one for our staff. We do have a lot of new faces in the summer for summer help. That really helps with billing. Also, just to see the friendly faces normally that you'd see in the dining room. We do have our auto payment form posted there. And then you can also get to our calendar and contact page. And also we do have, I still do onboarding every week with members, new and old. So if you're curious about that, feel free to click the link to my calendar and make an appointment.
Awesome. I have one question online. Jill would like to know if social memberships will be capped.
That's a really good question. That's what we've been talking about, and it's what we continue to talk about in the membership committee. And we will have to assess that week to week, month to month, based on kitchen times and being able to be seated and things like that. So that is on our minds, and our committees are reviewing it, but we don't have a cap as of right now.
Okay. That's all.
Any questions?
How many social members do we have?
We have 188.
Is that the most we've had?
December was the most we had, 197. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Great job.
Finish up here again. Just a little update from the kitchen, back and up and operating. No, January or February was a long haul, but we're all up and operating. Excited to, set that, thermometer to a summer setting. We have some cold air blow down on us for the first time ever. Starting to develop new spring and summer menus for the club and Max's. Coming up with new ideas to, just kind of, broaden our choices here at Area Park. And I am looking to add Coke Zero and a new brand of lineup for coffee options, with Royal Cup. I'm just kind of getting to the last, items to sign to get them to start bringing the equipment and having new coffee. So we did a little tasting and everybody loved the new Colombian coffee. So that's what we're doing. Kevin's has some things for the front of the house.
Yes, thank you, Justin. Front of the house, we're adding some allocated whiskeys to the bar lineup. Allocated whiskeys are high-end whiskeys that are hard to find and to get at an establishment. We are adding Eagle Rare, Blanton's, and Buffalo Trace. So we have those 3 whiskeys in-house, created pricing for that as well. So those will be on display for members to enjoy and order at their convenience. I'm switching out one of the least popular drafts, which is the 80 Line Black Ale. And we're going to attempt to offer something different, which is a Sweetwater 420. It's a Georgia beer, and it's a new brewery that they added here in Fort Collins. So that's a pale ale, a little familiar taste to Elephant Rock, but some subtle differences there as well. Rumbrauer Wine Dinner, April 14th. We have a good audience in reservations already with 25 people attending. We can capture up to 50 people for that event. Really high profile wines and an amazing menu paired with that from Justin. We are taking reservations for Easter brunch. We have 2 seatings, 10 a.m. and 12:30, with an Easter egg hunt right in between at 11:30. Currently, we have about 80 people in reservations, split pretty evenly, 40 and 40 for the 2 seatings. We also have karaoke coming up on April 4th. Hopefully Justin will sing a couple songs. He might hold me up there as well. Any questions?
I've heard there's a tequila shortage.
Yes.
It's a major concern.
Yes, I am concerned, so I definitely thought about that and considered ordering and having extra tequila available and stuff. So I think a wise decision.
As long as you're thinking about it.
Another update, staffing wise, we do have 3 high school students becoming of age to become servers. So we have a nice yield of servers coming up for the season. So happy to share that news on the serving staff.
Very great. Thank you. My wife will be very happy about the Coke Zero.
I thought you were gonna say the tequila.
Okay, I don't have any comments
No comments?
online.
Fantastic job, guys. A lot of work going on and all excited for the new golfing seasons. I think we're ready too.
Oh, I have one. Late chat. How's the new 18 and what is going on with the new practice area?
So the new 18 will open as soon as we can get rooting on the sod in the fairway. We feel stable or feel comfortable that it'll stabilize. We get carts on that, so we're looking at mid-May probably for that, and they are going to break ground ideally tomorrow on the practice area.
Anything else?
Maybe. Will it open this year?
Yes.
Yes.
I get a motion to close,
I move, we adjourn the meeting.
second, all in favor, stand up and leave.
Aye.
Thank you.